Thank you for joining us here on the Resume Profiler Podcast with Andrea Briscoe, where we make a difference, one career at a time.
Hi, guys. It's Andrea, and I am so pleased to have you joining me here on another episode of the Resume Profiler Podcast. And today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is just a fabulous resource that you should use. It's great. And I'm going to expound upon that in a minute. So as a quick reminder, hopefully you've gone to the LinkedInprofiler.com and downloaded my 8 tips to a rocking LinkedIn profile, which can serve as a supplement to what you may learn here today. I think it's a great one-pager and it's really, really useful. If you're working on your resume and you haven't gone back and listened to the podcast on resume construction, you may want to do that as well. And if this is the first time that you're listening to me, I have another podcast called the Second Act Podcast, and that's really interviews with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and leaders in leadership, designed really for women who are in their second act, but I don't care who you are. If you're recreating yourself, you can benefit from my interviews on the Second Act Podcast at thesecondactpodcast.com, also on Spotify, and on iTunes. So you can find both of these podcasts there. So I hope that you will listen in. Anyway, so a couple of quick statistics as we begin to talk about LinkedIn. Having a LinkedIn profile is really very important. It's not like the Facebook for business, although it is a social networking site. It's hugely impactful for you, particularly if you are a job search person. If you're in the market looking for a new role, having a resume that's functional, having a LinkedIn profile that's optimized is an absolute necessity. Again, because you are marketing yourself, you are the product, you are selling yourself in order to get to the next level and get your next role. So first of all, a couple of quick statistics to help you. LinkedIn is the top professional social networking site with about 140,000 users in the US and 200 additional countries and territories around the world. Over 85%, maybe even more, of recruiters use LinkedIn. And I suspect those numbers are only going to increase over time. Why? Because LinkedIn is a quick and easy resource in a rapidly changing environment around social media. As you all know, what was happening 5 years ago is completely different today. And I suspect, in 2020 and beyond, things are going to change even more rapidly, be more competitive, be more innovative, and of course, more disruptive. So, we're not going to return to print volumes like Hoover's or just using Monster or Indeed for job search and to do research. LinkedIn is the perfect tool for doing that. So using LinkedIn is a true tool that can take hours off of your job search and make navigating a difficult job search process easier in both the short and long term. So use it. I think I've said that enough times, and I've actually stressed that. Okay, so how can you maximize the potential of your LinkedIn profile? Keep your profile up to date. If you've left your most recent position and you're in transition, then change your summary. Otherwise, LinkedIn will automatically populate your summary section as though you're still there. So keep your profile up to date. Be comprehensive about your current skills and objectives. Tell me what they are. Again, I'm reading for a short period of time. I want to learn as much about you as I can and what you can do to help me, right? So if I'm a headhunter or a recruiter or a hiring manager, that's what I want to get from LinkedIn. Highlight your recent experience and be active rather than a passive participant. People will tell me all the time, oh yeah, well, I have a LinkedIn profile, but I haven't looked at it in, 6 months. Well, that's not good. You want to keep continually being an active participant. going to your groups, being active there, updating what's going on. I'm not saying you've got to be on LinkedIn every day posting stuff, but you should make sure that your profile is up to date, that you're conveying the messages that you want to, that you've got plenty of white space in your summary, because that's what's going to make it readable. And the same is true with your resume. If you've got bullet points, put some space between those bullet points. If your LinkedIn profile address, please go in to your systems and change it so that you have a profile address with your name and not with just the number that's following your name. So you want to do kind of a vanity title for your LinkedIn profile address, and also make sure that your LinkedIn profile address is on your resume as well. So additionally, your headline is important, and you don't want it to default to the last job that you have. Make sure that your photo is recent, and having a professional headshot, if possible, is huge. Build your network on LinkedIn. You want to turn your primary connections into your secondary connections, rather, into primary connections. And remember to import your contacts from your email and do this strategically. Just as I said previously, you want your resume to be strategic. You also want to strategically connect with people in your network through LinkedIn. You don't want to just blindly connect with people that you don't know. So having 500 connections is a goal, but it should actually be people that you know. So connect with people that you know. And if you don't know them, you just are acquainted with them, then get to know them. That can be, a point for you going forward. Research. Use LinkedIn as a research tool to research companies that you want to work for, people in industry, leadership, colleagues at companies that you're interested in. That is really a great opportunity for you to do some research. Now, you may think about, what are the differences between my LinkedIn profile and my resume? Well, your resume is final and static. LinkedIn is ever evolving and dynamic. People are making recommendations based on you. They're endorsing you on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is moving, right? As I just said before, LinkedIn is not a static space or a final space in the same way that your resume is. Your photo is hugely important because people will see your photo and make a judgment. People say that they don't want to put a photo on LinkedIn because of ageism, because of racism. But, I would submit to you, if you don't put a photo there, then how are you going to show up for a job interview? You're still going to be that person. You're still going to be female and 50. You're still going to be male and 62. It's about your attitude when you talk about ageism. So, I'm going to devote another entire podcast to ageism and help support folks with that. Again, some other things when you think about your LinkedIn profile, the photo is important. Again, your resume is static where your LinkedIn profile is active. You may have a more formal tone in your resume and a more social tone in your LinkedIn profile. And so those are some differences. You want to continue in your LinkedIn profile to have your summary, again, capture who you are as a professional, focus on the value that you deliver, show a bit of a factual flow between your positions. And so, LinkedIn is not a traditional resume, but it is an active source. Okay. So, you also want to, it comes down two ways about telling people that you're available on LinkedIn. I think that if you are active and you use, the LinkedIn job search tool, that's enough. I don't think that you need to broadcast on your profile that you're looking for work or that you're open for consulting opportunities. Some people think it works for them. If it works for you, I would say do it. But my preference really is to reach out directly to folks rather than have it broadcast on your LinkedIn profile. You want to build your network and connect with people. Use your connections and your network all that you can. Turn your secondary connections into primary connections, which would be the level 2. Again, use research to research companies and follow them. Use advanced search to do deeper and more in-depth searches. You can be creative. You can do Boolean searches. Ask folks in your network for introductions. Use your alumni associations, professional associations, networking, folks in your network, anything that you really can to connect with people. So what does that mean? That means don't be a wallflower on the internet. Reach out, be authentic, ask a question, because most people will talk about themselves for 5 minutes with almost anyone. And it's really typically pretty flattering to have somebody reach out to you and ask you a little bit about the company that you work for or what you do. And, I recommend between 4 to 6 contacts. Don't stalk the person, but do reach out between 4 to 6 times. Use InMail to reach out, ask questions, get more information about companies and organizations. So, really get involved. Use your professional groups. Okay? And, LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to network after business hours. The statistic is something like 9% of Americans use LinkedIn during working hours compared to other social media such as Facebook, etc. And 30% of people use it after hours. So it gives you an opportunity to reach out outside of regular business hours. So what is that all to say? It's to say, use your LinkedIn profile effectively. Make sure that you add a headshot. Create a headline that's eye-catching. Again, just like with your resume, you're really creating an opportunity for you to sell yourself as the product. Make sure that your summary is interesting. Highlight your key experience. If you're comfortable, use visual media. Customize your URL. As I said, use your name as opposed to the numbers that are automatically generated. And make connections that you know. Make connections, ask for recommendations. Use LinkedIn to your advantage. Okay? And, LinkedIn also has lots of tools to make sure that your profile is strong, how many people have viewed you, getting an all-star ranking. All of those things are important. Also, I neglected to mention getting a paid membership with LinkedIn or doing the free membership. I would say try the paid membership. I think right now you can get it for a certain amount of time for free, and then you've got to upgrade. But, it does make a difference as to what you can do, the effectiveness of the LinkedIn profile, your outreach. You can see who's looked at your profile. You can then reach out to them. So it really is a nice way to connect. So there you have it. Again, feel free to download my 8 tips for a rocking LinkedIn profile. And I hope to see you here again and connect with me on LinkedIn, right? I'm going to walk the talk. So thanks again for joining me here on the Resume Profiler podcast. Visit me at the LinkedInprofiler.com website, at the Second Act podcast, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Andrea Coaches. So I look forward to seeing you soon. And as always, making a difference one career at a time. Thanks for joining me here, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us here on the Resume Profiler podcast with Andrea Briscoe. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.